Hey, in today's episode, we are doing 5 questions with Mikey Eyssimont of the Tampa Bay Lightning. 3 of my hobbies are wine, hockey, and heavy metal music, so we're going to cover 2 of those 3 in this interview. And we had a really great conversation. He's a delightful guy, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. All right, so I want to welcome in friend of the channel, Mikey Eyssimont. I probably should have asked you beforehand whether I should be official, like formal, and call you Michael, or go with Mikey. But do you have a preference in terms of how people refer to you?
Yeah, I've had this question all too often the past year, just with
Yeah.
on all these different teams. So I've tried to change it to Michael. I've gone with Mike, and it's just confused everyone. So now across the board, I tell everyone Mikey. That's what my mom calls
Okay.
me, so that's what I'm going to stick with.
Got it. So even though,
Yeah.
yeah, so it's just like your hockey cards. They went with
Yeah.
the formal name. So so I want to introduce you to the audience, right? So we connected a little while ago. I'm honored to have an actual NHL player to talk wine about. You've had you recently, I guess now your last year you were in the NHL full time. You had a couple of different destinations, but now you're settled in Tampa Bay. With the Lightning, I can't think of a better spot, right, for you to settle. And now they've committed to you for the next few years, so that's exciting. And we've corresponded a little bit here and there. You definitely have an interest in wine, and I think a lot of our thoughts align too. So it's been really cool to get to know you. I guess from my standpoint, like, how'd you get into wine? Is there like a moment? Was it a gradual thing, or is it just something that has always sort of been present?
Yeah. First off, thanks for having me on. I've been watching your channel for close to a year now, so it's exciting to be on here and talking to you face to face here on Teams right now. For me, wine it was gradual in a way where I always knew I liked wine, and I always enjoyed drinking with friends, to the point where my friends would be, we go to a restaurant, Mikey, you order the wine. And I knew what regions I liked maybe, but nothing too specific. So I'd like order, a Super Tuscan, and where
Hmm.
it's Italian, but different varieties from different places. And so it got to the point where I was like, okay, I think I'm just gonna actually learn about wine. It's something that interests me. I've met many former like teammates I've played with that were always into it, who initially got me into it. Guys like Matt Molson, who had a long career in the NHL in New York and
Yeah,
LA.
he's an old Islander fave.
That's right. So it was gradual in that sense, but I was driving up to Winnipeg last season to begin training camp, and just decided to start. I decided it's 17-hour drive. I'm going to listen to 17 hours worth of wine podcasts all the way up there. So I was just, listening to those, and just hour 5, I was like just so intrigued by this. It was like I was, people listen to crime podcasts, and
Mhm.
I was that into it. So it started there. So it's very early in my wine journey, I'd say, as far as learning about it. I haven't been able to drink as much wine as I'd like, but I look forward to it, being a part of my life going forward.
Cool. Yeah, and it's never ending, right? And
Right.
there's so much to learn. That's the thing that I end up really always intrigued by, is like, no matter what, you're learning something almost every time you drink a different wine, which is really cool. Because I
Yeah, I
can't get
found it
into.
was
Yeah.
sorry to interrupt
No, I
you.
was just gonna say, like, I can't, like, just a lot of people, they want a beer, they always drink the same exact things, and I can't do that. And wine's a perfect spot to for that.
Yeah, it was fun to learn about during the hockey season, because I can't drink wine every night, obviously. But when you learn about wine, I was learning about the
Mhm.
history, the topography, the geography, everything that comes with it, and I found that just as interesting as well. And you start to learn about vineyards and stories, and so I've read fiction and nonfiction about wine, and
Yeah.
it's something I definitely, like I said, want to be a part of my life going forward.
Cool. Do you have like favorite wines that you drink regularly? Maybe whether it's just, recently, or you kind of have favorites that you always go back to?
Yeah, I found it's changed with the seasons, and with this the setting I'm in. Whether Winnipeg, I was really enjoying this this Primitivo. It was
Okay.
Signamoro, and it was 80-year-old vines. It was really smoky, and it was great for the Winnipeg winter. And I was drinking it. It's an affordable bottle, and I was able to enjoy that in Winnipeg. And then I moved to San Jose, and I was introduced to an Austrian restaurant where I
Okay.
fell in love with my first white wine, which was a Mosel Riesling. And Riesling became something that I'll always drink. My favorite white wine. But my favorite bottle, everyday bottle, I think, say a Dolcetto. It's
Hmm.
from Dosset, and it's just, I know it's opposite of the spectrum as from a Riesling, but it's something that I've just introduced to some friends, and them liking it makes me like it a little bit more. And I just watched your short video on the Rosso, the 2020 Rosso di Montalcino.
Yeah.
That's something I'll always like to have in my collection, and something always ready to drink.
Yeah, the Rossos are amazing, but I have to I got to explore some more Dolcetto. I do enjoy those. You think you sent me a picture of that label. We'll post it down here so people know what we're talking about. Like take a recommendation from you. And
Yeah.
I have to find, if I find that locally, I'll
Yeah,
definitely
haven't
do
found it
a
since I
review.
was in Canada, but it was in a book I read, and
Mhm.
anytime you see something that's recommended in text, then when you find it in person, it makes it more
Yeah.
special, I think. So I've enjoyed that bottle for quite a few of them.
Going back to your podcast comment, do you have a favorite podcast or two that you're always listening to?
I should shout them out. Wine 101 wine pair with a guy named, I think his name's Greg. It's called Vine Pair 101. That's
Vine,
something
yeah.
that, yeah, that
Okay.
was great. And Wine Face as well is the creator of Wine Face owns a restaurant in LA called John and Vinny's, which I was really into as well.
Oh,
So those are kind of my two podcasts. I like how they're a little bit shorter and you can just learn about something quickly and then go read about it in text or online or something. Those are two podcasts I try to listen to weekly.
cool. Yeah, I'm not familiar with the second one, but Wine 101 is definitely on my list, and they do make it nice and digestible,
Yeah.
like the 20 minutes or so. Some podcasts get like 2 hours, and it's
Right.
like,
And I enjoy those
yeah,
as well sometimes because they go
yeah,
over a lot, but
yeah. I mean, on a 17-hour drive,
yeah.
that's plenty. Um, do you like keep a log of any kind or tasting notes or something? Like for me, right? I always struggled like whether it was finding a tool, doing it on a website, and then I just started Instagram, and that's sort of my tasting notes in some ways. But how do you keep track of the wines that you taste, or do you just
I'd
not?
keep a journal in my wine cellar, which is actually just a closet, but
Okay.
with my wine rack in it. And when I got traded from Winnipeg to San Jose, I had to leave some things behind. So in San Jose, I was lucky enough to meet some friends who were very into wine as well, some teammates, and kind of just started doing what they do, using that Vivino app where I can kind of like,
Okay. Yeah.
it's like making a playlist on Spotify but for wine and what you like, which is nice. And then pairing that with a decanter premium,
Mm.
it's I live alone, so I'm able to read an article while I have dinner, and
Yeah.
maybe buy a bottle and then log it on my Vivino app.
Okay, cool. That I
Yeah,
like the idea, the playlist for kind of
right.
building your playlist for wine. That's a cool little analogy. Um, so I guess that there are a couple of podcasts that I recently listened to. I think it's a Psalm podcast, is where the guys had a number of either current NHL players or former NHL players who've gotten into wine, like Cam Ward, I think
Right.
is uh, making wine now in California. And I was curious if so it feels like there's a little bit of an emerging scene happening within the league. Not quite NBA, like crazy baller style, or maybe it is, but you just don't hear about it. But I was curious what your experience was like, on the different teams, and how whether wine is a topic, right? That's been growing in interest.
Yeah, I mean, it's like I've met someone in every place I've played, starting in LA where I initially found my taste for wine,
Mm.
with Matt Molson, who is very into wine, him and his wife. And moving to Winnipeg is where I really started to learn about it, and in learning about it, was able to teach some people what I knew about it, which wasn't much, but it was fun. You know, you can kind of learn by teaching as well.
Yeah.
And but once I got traded to San Jose, the wine scene was very prevalent. Uh,
Yeah.
Patrick
Yeah.
Marleau, a legend, he has a wine out there. Logan Couture has I think he made 350 bottles of his first ever wine paired up with a vineyard in Napa. Um, and it's a great bottle as far as the New World wines go, which isn't exactly my taste, but he has a great
Hmm.
taste in wine and a great knowledge for it as well. And our goalie there, Capo Kakinen, he's on his way to becoming a really big wine merchant, maybe after his hockey career, because he's in love with it more than anyone I've met personally. So it was great to sit with him on the plane and learn about it. But yeah, the wine scene's emerging. It's what we drink when we go out to dinner on the road. It's definitely part of the social structure of teammates and stuff like that in the NHL, or a big part of it. And yeah, we enjoy it, and I enjoy meeting teammates on all these different teams that are into it, and then staying in touch if you drink a good bottle.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. So I guess now that you're in Tampa Bay, right? I've heard these stories about Burns. Everybody always talks about, oh, Burns Steakhouse and the wine list there and this and that. I've never been there personally, but
Yeah.
did you, when you arrived at the trade deadline, did Steven Stamkos and Kucherov take you out to Burns for a steak? or have
I
you ever
haven't
been
made there
there
yet.
and actually tried to
Yeah.
like read through their list in any way? Because it's like 180
No,
pages or something like that.
I haven't been there yet.
Okay. All right.
Obviously I've heard of it, and I
Yeah.
look forward to trying it someday. I know, looking at their wine list, just pulling it up on my phone, it's like an encyclopedia.
Yeah. It's
I don't know
crazy.
how I'd navigate that. I'd actually be curious, if you make it down to Tampa, take you out there and try to see what you would do trying to navigate a menu like that. I think I definitely Uber there that night though.
Yes, without a doubt. I'd probably freeze. I'd probably just look for a Rosso di Montalcino and just be like, okay, we'll go
Yeah,
with that one.
and a quarter of Rosso.
And make it easy. That's funny. What's the I guess what's been the best part of your NHL experience so far? Now we're getting into hot. So actually, let me rewind for a second. So I'm a huge Islander fan. So technically, we should be mortal enemies in a sense, because Tampa has, kind of tortured the Islanders over the recent years. But for some reason, like there's always been something about the players that are on that team that I can't bring myself to hate, right?
Right.
Like, because I mean, if you're on the Rangers, right, it's not going to work. But
Yeah.
like like Stamkos, Kucherov, Victor Hedman, these guys are just, you watch them play and it's just absolutely amazing, right? To be with them on a regular basis, it's got to be great. But like, what's been the best thing about your experience in the NHL so far? If there's, has there been a moment?
Well, I should mention playing on Long Island for the first time was really a really great experience, only because my mom and dad are both raised on Long Island, and I have most of my
That's right.
family's
You
still out there.
mentioned,
So
yeah,
that was a great experience itself,
that's
just
crazy.
playing
Yeah.
in New York, and at that new arena, it's absolutely gorgeous too. Um, but my favorite experiences in the NHL have been honestly just it was a long road to the NHL for me. So
Hmm.
being able to learn under NHL coaches and watch NHL players in practice, I think has been the most meaningful experience. Obviously, scoring your first NHL goal, and just first road trip and all these
Yeah.
things, rookie party, all these things are great experiences. But in my eyes, I have a long ways to go. So I always say I've watched more Tampa Bay Lightning games in the past 4 or 5 seasons than any other team in the league. If they're on
Mm.
TV and I'm not busy, I'm watching the Lightning play. So to be traded there and get to play under John Cooper and his staff and watch Kucherov in person and all these great players, there's no lack of you look anywhere on the ice in practice and you can pick up on
Mm.
something. So that's something I'm really cherishing right now as an experience, just exactly where I'm at.
Cool. But you're just getting started. I'm not
Yeah.
saying that just because you're because we're talking here, I'm just, it's good to see. And, I think you're in a really good spot down there. So I'm excited for you. Um, any parting thoughts around your plans for the off season, and anything that you want to do from are you interested in maybe taking a trip to a wine region, now that you're finally settled in for a little
I've been
bit,
really
or?
looking forward to it. I've been really looking forward to doing something like that. I spent about 6 weeks in Europe playing more hockey, so I wasn't able
Yeah.
to experience everything in Europe I wanted. I wouldn't trade it for anything, but I'm at that age where it's a busy summer as a lot of friends are getting married, so it's a bachelor party here and a wedding there. And when I can get a weekend to just be home and watch some movies and lay low, I'll take it.
Yeah.
And there's only been about one of them this whole summer. So for me, this summer's about celebrating some friends, and I guess wine goes hand in hand with that sometimes.
Yeah.
But next summer I look forward to hopefully having a more laid back, relaxed summer and being able to do some more of those things I want to do.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, this has been, a lot of fun. I really appreciate the time, because I know you've got a lot of requests for your time and time commitments, right, in the off season. Even though it is the off season, it's never the off
It
season
is.
for you guys, right? So this has been great. I definitely want to keep in touch, and and lots of luck this year. And maybe I'll see you in Boston, or even on Long Island. I have to get to an Islander game. I haven't been down there,
You
but
have to be there. It's a great
yeah,
ring. Great ring.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Chris. Really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks so much. How much fun was that? I'm really looking forward to following Mikey's career. I think he's only getting started. And naturally, I think, I wish him the best. And I know all of you wish him the best as well. I'm going to follow on this video with a navigation of the Burns Steakhouse wine list at some point. Not sure when, but it'll be interesting. Watch me flopping through 192 pages. See you soon, guys.